Hey guys, this is Amanda from Amanda's Booktopia. If you're new here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. And today is the start of a new vlog where I read nothing but Book of the Month Finalists from 2023. I decided to start with None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. And it's a thriller, and I've never read her before, and I am very excited to try this one. I don't know much, except that I know there's like a podcast element. And I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on because I've heard a lot of good reviews on it. And I am excited to finally start this book. So I'm about to dive right in, and I will give you guys an update later on once I've made some progress. Alright, so I'm at page 154 of None of This Is True. And this is bonkers. Like, what the heck is going on with Josie? I need to know, like, everything, like, now. Like, I have been reading since this afternoon, and it just gets crazier and crazier. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I needed to, like, put this book down and just talk about it real quick, because what the heck is going on with this family? I am so confused. I am like, what the heck? Why is this child being, like, locked herself into a room that stinks really, really bad, and Josie's not doing anything, and she purees all of her food and puts it in front of her door for her to pick up when she's ready? Like, what the heck? I'm like, there's something wrong with this family. And I'm about to find out, because this is weird. And I think Alex is onto something. So I'm going to get back and find out what the heck is going on, because I need to know. But I had to say something, because I'm at the point I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I'm going to get back to it, and I'll update you guys once I know more information. I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. I know I might have just said something I probably shouldn't have. So, if you did want to know, wait till I get to the end of this book, and then we'll talk. So, I'm sorry if I spoiled anything. I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to, but I had to talk about it. I'm like, what? Okay, so I'm going to keep going. It is now 2:15 in the morning on Thursday. I stayed up late because I needed to know what the heck was going on in this book, and I just finished it, and everything in my head is going around in circles. Like, what the heck did I just read? This was a crazy ride from start to finish, and I will leave out all spoilers as much as possible, because I really recommend people read this, and so they can also have the same reactions that I'm having. Because this is crazy. And then there's like this open ending, and I hate open endings. And I'm like, no, don't do this to me. It was intense. This woman, Josie, is something else, let me tell you. And then like, the stuff that goes on with her family, and I'm like, what? But this book is like a classic case of the he said, she said, and the truth always lies somewhere in the middle. Because after that ending I just read, there's definitely some mixed things like going on in this story. Like, you never know what is actually true. And which makes this title make so much sense. None of this is true. Because you don't know what's true in this book. Like, seriously, you have no idea. And I'm like, what is true? Is anything true? So we probably won't ever get the full story, like the actual truth. Because Josie says one thing, her kids say another. It was intense. Like, I did not expect some of the things that happened in this book to happen. And I'm like, wait, what? And the way it ended, just, there was no resolution, like, to the book. So we don't really know like for sure what's going to happen with Josie, if anything. So it's really hard to predict, and the open endings I can't stand. I read books with open endings before, and I never loved books with open endings. It's just not my thing. Why do they have to have those? It's like, come on, give me some resolution here. And, well, because it was such a crazy ride, and I loved the story so much, like, I was like, wait, what? Like, everything was happening. And then that ending threw me. So, I guess I'm gonna have to rate this 4 stars. It would have been 5 if it wasn't for that darn open ending. I hate open endings. Okay, end of rant. I had to say that though. So, yeah, this is a 4 star for sure. So I definitely recommend people who like open endings and like podcast elements and true crime stuff. This is a book for you. For sure. And, well, this is my first book by this author. And I would definitely read others from her, because maybe some of her other books don't have open endings that I might like more. So I would give this author another shot. I can't talk today. But it was still, I had a good time with it, and I'm glad it's over. But now I need to pick up my next book. So the next finalist for Book of the Month, I decided to go with my intimidating read for Escape the Readathon, which is Shark Heart by Emily Habak. I wasn't going to pick this up originally, but I couldn't decide which finalist to pick up next, so I had Ray choose for me. When I told him about this book, he said, read this one because I need to know your thoughts. So I'm like, okay then. This is what I'm reading then. So, I'm very intimidated because this is not a genre that I typically read. And it does sound very, very weird. All I know is that this man turns into a shark because of some kind of condition. So, I don't know what the heck is going to happen in this book. But, however, since it is very, very late at night, and I probably should be sleeping, so I probably won't start this right now. But definitely, during the day, I will be picking this up. Because I need to know stuff. I need to know why this man has to be a shark. So, it will be interesting, I'm sure. It is very late. We're like in Friday morning already. It's already after 2 in the morning. And I just finished Shark Heart by Emily Habak. And this was weird, like extremely. Like, I knew what I was getting myself into. But as I've said before, this is not my kind of genre, my type of book. And this just, yeah, basically, it was everything that I don't like in the book, basically. It just proves I am not a literary fiction girly. Because, I mean, the concept was intriguing. So I thought maybe I'd give it a shot, and hopefully it wouldn't be what I thought it was going to be for me. And the concept leading up to the ending was interesting. I only kept going. I was going to DNF, except I wanted to know what the end was going to be like. And that's the only reason why I pushed through and finished it. However, I'm just not a fan. It was not my style of book, not what I normally like to read, and this just proves that I am not going back to literary fiction anytime soon. I know a lot of people love this book and give it really high ratings, but those people are probably more literary fiction oriented than I am, because this is just not for me, unfortunately. So for that reason alone is why I'm giving it a 2-star rating. The reason why I'm not giving it a 1 is because the concept was intriguing. And it kept me wanting to figure out what was going to happen in the end. That's why I did not give it a 1 star. I almost did. But after thinking about it, I figured 2 stars would probably be my best rating on this book. And I am glad that it's over. Now we're moving on to something bigger and better. So hopefully a higher star rating book. Because I am happy to say I am done with this book and I am moving on. So, the next book that I'm going to be reading is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer. From my understanding, it's just like Willy Wonka, but book-oriented. So that sounds so interesting because I absolutely loved Willy Wonka, the Gene Wilder version, not the Johnny Depp one, but the Gene Wilder one is the best version. For those who like the Johnny Depp one, well, it wasn't for me, but I'm glad you liked it. Gene Wilder will always be forever and ever my Willy Wonka. And I also saw the prequel movie, which was outstanding, and I recommend everybody should watch. But I am very excited to dive into this one because it has that kind of feel to it. And it's about a manuscript. So I am excited to find out if this is going to be a 5-star for me. I would love for this to be a 5-star. Because it just sounds so interesting and right up my alley. It is now late on Friday. It is after 11. And I only just got to finishing The Wishing Game. And I was going to do an update earlier. However, I ended up going out and went to dinner with some friends. And I didn't actually get to finish this until after I got home. So I didn't get a chance to do an update then. However, now that I finished it, I am so glad that I read this because it was such a cute story and very heartwarming, and it definitely resembled Willy Wonka in a lot of ways. And I even checked the acknowledgments in the back, and she even says herself, the author. Let me pull it up so I can read it to you. She writes, "First, I have to thank Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka for taking over my brain in the 3rd grade. Can you imagine getting the chance to play a game that could change your life? Oh, to be Charlie." And that's a cute sentiment, I think. And I'm glad that this was based off of Willy Wonka, and this definitely resembled it in a lot of ways, and I really loved a lot of the characters. I think Jack would be my favorite character in the story. Because Jack is a lot like Willy Wonka in his own way. And I really enjoyed the premise of the book and how it all came together. It was very heartwarming. It was a little bit sad at times. But everything works out for the best. There's definitely a HEA at the end of the book. So I am very happy that I got to this one. It was so fun. I really enjoyed it. So I definitely gave it a 5-star rating because it just brought me back to my childhood and watching Willy Wonka all over again. And it was a great time. I absolutely loved it. And I would definitely read more from this author if she wrote any other books. Especially if she does more retellings. So now that I'm done with this book, I have another book to read from these finalists. The next one I have is Wayward by Emilia Hart. And I've heard really excellent things about this one. All I know is that it's multi-generational. There's 3 different timelines. There's 2019, 1619, and then 1942. And they're weaving together the stories of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries. So there's definitely historical elements, and I've heard there's a little bit of magic in this and how everything that kind of twines together from the different centuries. So I'm very excited to get started on this one. It is now Saturday at almost 9:15 in the evening, and I just finished Wayward. I was thinking about doing an update earlier, then I decided I wanted to finish it first before talking about this book because I didn't realize how heavy this book is. So I highly recommend checking out trigger warnings before going into this book because there are some dark things that happen to some of these characters. And So I definitely recommend checking those before diving into this if you're interested. Because not everybody can handle certain subjects. I mean, for me, it was fine because I read dark books often. So it doesn't bother me to that extent. But I am glad I finished this book, though. I can see why people love this book so much. And how these main characters all intertwine with each other. So we're basically getting 3 different points of view. Each character is kind of like part of this family. So we have Kate in 2019, Altha in 1619, and Violet in 1942. And basically how their stories intertwine with each other. And it's definitely multi-generational. And I did really enjoy this because it's kind of like one of those books where you kind of figure out how to basically step into your own and be a strong woman. I would say this is more like a woman lit fic in that perspective. So that's kind of how I see it for this book. And I did really enjoy it. I don't really read a lot of women literary fiction type stuff, but it was definitely lyrical in the writing for sure. And my favorite perspective, I think, would be Altha's, because I love historical fiction, and seeing her perspective from 1619 was probably my favorite out of all the characters. And I really am glad I gave this one a chance. It was some of the things surprised me, other things didn't, but I am very glad that I read this book. I think I'm gonna give this a 4-star rating because I really did enjoy it, but it didn't blow me away to the point where I couldn't get enough of it. But I did enjoy the book overall. It was very interesting with how each character kind of related to each other in some way, and how it all comes full circle, I guess you could say. So I am glad I have finished this one. It didn't take me long. I think I started last night, so it didn't take long to read this one. So now that I'm done with this book, y'all are gonna be super excited because this was the winner of the last year's Book of the Month finalists. So, last but not least, I am reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. And yes, I know this was not a Book of the Month copy. It's a paperback. I got this one before I got this particular book before it became on the Book of the Month app to begin with. So I didn't feel like I needed the Book of the Month copy because I already had this copy. So I am very excited. I'm going to dive right into Yours Truly, and I will give everybody an update later on once I've gotten some reading in. I am very excited for this one because I have been putting this off for months. I was supposed to read it in March, did not do it then. I was supposed to read it in April, did not do it then. Now it's May, and I need to read this. So I'm going to get started. It is now about 6:15 or so at night on Sunday, and I did finish Yours Truly. I actually finished it before I left earlier today. I think I finished this around 1:30ish. And I didn't get a chance to do an update because I was about to head out. And I was not able to talk about the book while I was out. So now I am back and telling you that I finished it. And I absolutely love this. This was the winner of the finalists from Book of the Month for 2023. Mine is a paperback copy, not the Book of the Month one. I am so glad that I read this because I think she may become a new favorite author. I absolutely loved Part of Your World last year, and this killed it in the anxiety department. Like, people with disabilities have a hard time as is, and seeing it anxiety portrayed, the way that it is in this book, sounds exactly like it should. It was done perfectly, and sometimes, like, I get that way sometimes. Not all the time, but there are times when I have issues with anxiety. So it was nicely done in this book. The romance was top tier. I loved everything about this book. I could see why it won as Book of the Year for 2023. It was outstanding. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was, like, I could not get enough. Like, I started this last night, and finishing it this afternoon was great. I'm so glad I was able to read this in record time. And I absolutely love this so much. I cannot wait to read Just for the Summer. In fact, it will be my next read, even though it wasn't even on my TBR for the month at all. Because now I feel like I need to read every book by this author, Abby Jimenez. She is an outstanding writer. And the way she, like, her romances are just so, like, heartwarming and heartfelt. And, like, I was tearing up at the end of this thing. Like, it was that good. Like, just as good as Part of Your World. And that was a high contender last year. So, I absolutely love this, and I could not get enough. So this was the best book out of all the books I've read from the Book of the Month finalists. So I'm so glad I saved the best for last. It was amazing. I couldn't get enough. 5 stars all around. And that was the last book of this vlog. So I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, give me a huge thumbs up. If you want to see more bookish content from me, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. And I will see you all next time.